Today's Mopar adventure, me and Mabel, we're just going to get some lights working on the satellite here. I think all the headlights work. That one smoked. That marker light doesn't work. So if you've been following this build, you see that I had to put a whole quarter on it on this side. Back bumper back on. And I got a quarter skin on this side. I've also done the outer tubs on it, the trunk pan and the drop off extensions. So it's way more solid now than it ever was in the history that I've known the car. But we got some other things going on that I want to swap out today. Oh, I gotta fix this window. I don't have it bolted in. Just one bolt. So this gauge cluster has seen some better days. See, it's all cracked. The alternator gauge is the only gauge that works. So I'm gonna take all this stuff off today. I got another set of gauges. Check those out. So I got these gauges. I took them apart and cleaned them, and I painted all the needles. And I checked them out. They all sweep. So I'm hoping the regulator on the back's good as well. And I did change these some. So as you can see, I put LED lights in here. Now these lights are for like you buy them at like a rallies. They're for like an off-road bumper type deal. But I tried getting LED bulbs for these. You know, they twist in. Right, here's one. These twist in. I bought LED bulbs for these. But I couldn't get them to work in any position. You know, I could flip them around. I couldn't get them to work at all. So I just went down to Rally's and I bought these. They fit in the hole perfect. So then I just, you know, put a piece of plastic underneath this, put a washer on it. These lights will be nice and bright. And I made this pigtail right here. So it'll just plug into the, there's like a 3Y orange connector for the harness for like auxiliary lights or whatever. So I'll just plug those into it. And if I ever want to change it, all I have to do is take the gauges back apart, change. It's not a big deal. But I did this mod on the Charger, and the lights, they look awesome. And I think these lights they're like 20 bucks. Maybe 30 bucks, because I had to buy 2 sets. Also had to solder this pin, these 2 pins, because they were cracked. But yeah, I'm gonna plug all these in, and then I have enough good bulbs for these. Like, these are like the turn signals and the emergency brake and stuff. That way I won't have to mess with all these bulbs. I only have to mess with, you know, 4 or 5. Which one of these is like for the high beam, and one is for like a brake light. So I mean, it's not that big of a deal anyway. But mainly want to make sure, you know, my turn signals work, my high beam one works. So I'm going to try to take that dash apart and swap this out. It's been a couple hours. Taking that dash pad off and getting all the wiring loose so that piece could come out where it has all the switches in it. Switch panel. That sucks. Real bad. The wiring in there looks pretty good. I guess I might need another speedometer cable. So for lighting up those LEDs that I put in there, see, here's your orange wire. See how it has this like 3-prong. You can do some accessories, whatever. So you don't have to butcher your wiring. You just use like the male whatever connector that is and plug it right in. So then if you don't like it, you just take them back out. See, the alternator gauge is working, fuel gauge is working. I don't know why that's not flashing, but that side's working. Temperature gauge isn't going to work because it's got this Sun Pro one down there. That's all right. But at least I got a fuel gauge now. I can't show you the lights right now because one, it's really bright outside, and I don't have the headlight switch back in it because that ridiculous design. The Charger dash is so much better. But I'm just glad that I got, well, I had it. Where'd it go? It must be a loose ground. Okay, it's pretty dark outside. Let's see how the lights here look. So that's how it is with the LEDs in them. This headlight switch, it needs some work. See, but they look really good. They look more blue on the camera. They look pretty natural, like the older lights, just brighter. And I got the tack and the other gauges wired in so they light up at the same time. And I have a gas gauge that works now. That flasher sounds like it's on its last leg. I don't know why it's still ticking. But that's it for this round. Taking this dash off sucked. So I'm back working on the satellite again. Yesterday I swapped the gauges, so now I have a working gas gauge. Those lights I put in, they work really good, but the headlight switch, it's got some issues. Like, you either have headlights or you have dash lights. You don't have both. So I'm gonna try to take that apart today and clean it. And I ran the car out of gas when I was trying to tune it. So I'm tuning it, and I wish I had this on camera, but it made a huge ball of fire straight out the carburetor. Singed all my arm hair off on my right arm. Good look at that there. Yeah. And of course, I take my wife to dinner, and she's like, "Oh my God, what happened to your arm?" I wish I'd got on camera. That carb, it's a big old Holly. It's like 900 something CFM. I think where the car is set for like 5 or 6 years, it's just gummed up, and I ran it up and down the road, and it's dumping so much fuel that I burned through like 4 gallons of gas and went like 3 miles between up and down my road and just pulling it in out of the carport yesterday, tuning on it. The accelerator pump, the diaphragm's leaking. Nowhere around here has a rebuild kit. So I think I'm just gonna pull the L-Brock off the Charger since it's still down for the count. Stick it on here. It's 800 CFM. I'm just gonna pull all that off, the regulator and everything, stick it on here and see how it runs today. I also named this channel New House of Speed, but it seems more like New House of Slow because I never get out of the driveway. So I swapped that carburetor from the gummed up Holly that was dumping loads of fuel and the diaphragm was leaking to the basically new Edelbrock I've had that on the Charger probably 5 years, but the car hasn't been driven very much, maybe 1,000 miles. So it's new carburetor. Also, I left this regulator on it because those Edelbrocks don't like a lot of fuel pressure. So I put this carb on, and I'm not even joking. I got it warmed up, got it tuned really nice, all the backfiring quit, and then the fuel pump died. Stuck a new fuel pump on there. I actually had that fuel pump when I drove the Charger to the Mopar Nationals. I was paranoid, so I bought a lot of parts. So now I want to see if I can't take this headlight switch out from behind the dash. It just has 2 screws and the wiring that clips on it. I'm gonna take that off, and hopefully I'm gonna show you if I can take the switch apart, clean it up. It's like 1 step forward, 3 steps back. All right, so I got the switch apart. You can see here's the case. This lever is what actually moves it up and down. And if you look real close, I don't know if the camera will zoom in or not, there's a groove right here to the left arm thing. There's a ball bearing that rides in that, and that's what gives you the clicking feel. So I stuck a little bit of grease on this to hold the ball bearing in place. But right there is a groove that sits on that arm, and then that ball rides in the groove beside of it. And I'm just going to put this, so I clean it all up. And then on the back side of this, where I got the 2 daubs of grease, there's 2 holes for 2 springs. And on those springs, I'm not an expert in this, I just took it apart, are these brass contact staple looking things. And they'll sit over top of the screws and make contact through the whole path. And here's the back side. I took some fine sandpaper, sanded it nice and clean. I know there's a lot of tools and stuff. I'm not prepared for this. So I cleaned those points on the end, those contact pads, and I've cleaned these little brass thingies. So I'm going to put this back together. This will be right here. Next, I'm going to put those springs in those holes to help hold it in place. And I'm going to try to put the metal contacts on it, and then put the contact plate, I guess that's what you call it, back on it. Get it all together. So now I got my contacts sitting on there. I'm going to put the back on, and I hope this thing works again. Alright, here it is back together. Alright, let's go put it back in the car. Well, old satellite's running better, but still chasing some electrical gremlins. I'm gonna go, I guess, call for exorcism or something. Y'all stick around for the next one.